G'day everyone, Jason Nunn, Fisherman's Warehouse, Tuckerwald, Marks Point. With this Friday's fishing report, a little bit of southerly here at the moment. We have sought a little bit of protection down here at Pelican. Look, these winds are going to continue a little bit in tomorrow, but it's going to moderate quite quickly. And of course, northeast winds on Sunday. A little bit of swell around as well. So this afternoon, you won't be going offshore, that is for sure and certain, but you'll need to just check it out as the weekend unfolds. And we've got some really warm weather coming up into the early part of next weekend. Tides this weekend, of course, high tide, about 1.83 metres tomorrow morning, just around about 10 past 10 at Swansea Heads. And of course on Sunday, pretty much 11 o'clock. Some really good tides this weekend. Full moon rolled through last night, being Thursday night. So remember, the key to that is 7 to 10 days after the full moon, we'll have the December prawn run. This year, the prawn run will basically start next weekend, a week before Christmas. So it's a great opportunity to get out there and get some prawns. A lot of guys this week have been talking about it. I've been watching it on Facebook. Not a lot of squid around. I really just think the squid have come back a bit. And with this next prawn run starting next weekend, you'll then see that increase for that week while that activity's happening at night with squid in the channel. There's been a few mulloway in the lake, and there's certainly been some really nice kings in the lake, and I've got a couple of reports of kingfish today and some really big fish following lures up. One of the gentlemen I spoke to probably an hour ago had a fish around a metre follow his lure back up. So some really good kings in the lake. But again, down rigging I reckon is going to be the key. If you can get hold of some live yellowtail, or when this, well, basically after the prawn and the squid increase, we'll start to see a little bit more activity. And guys, with these squid, remember the peak time for squid is always that latter part of January, particularly February and March. And we didn't have a great squid season in our offshore situation. I just think that was just due to too much flood rain. But look, it's going to get better over the next few months. A lot of flathead around. I spoke to a fair few guys today. A lot of fish, that mid-range sort of stuff, 55 centimetres to 65, but a lot of fish getting released, and there's quite a few fish over 70, up towards 80 centimetres. A lot of these fish now are starting to really get full of roe, basically. So you're going to see this right the way through into January and probably into the first part of February. So quite a few flathead. The shallow water is the pick. Lures, grub tails, paddle tails, we've spoken about it many times, opposed to the winter when we're using fork tails, jerk shads, and of course vibes. You've really got to just have those bigger type swim baits through these shallow waters. Quite a few around. Some nice whiting and brim, and Gary Hill, I spoke to him again this week. You got some really nice brim, but very early in the morning, like a 3 a.m. start, but some beautiful brim up around the kilo. And this is what you've got to do, guys. If you're really keen on getting fish, you've got to put the time in. So if the tides are working well with you, don't just think that you're going to get up at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the day, go out there and catch them. You've got to put the time in, and that's exactly how the guys are catching these fish. Crabs, well look, there's a lot of crabs being caught, but there's a lot of crab pots now. And I got a report this week that one of the boys that contacted me, for 3 days he had his pots out in 6 to 7 metres of water to no success. You just got to move these pots around. I mean, the crabs were coming out over the last, say, 4 to 6 weeks, coming out of that deeper water. You've got to move around. And look, when I run a crab set, I like to run from the deep to the shallow to try to pick up a line of where those crabs are. At the moment, they could be up in 5 to 6, but you just can't persist in putting your crab pots in at that depth. Vary it out. I know a couple of boys had some pots in some 8 metres of water, and they did get a few crabs. So you've just got to mix it around, and don't stick in the same depth. You've got to just put a bit of a variant on it. Beaches, a few mulloway. We've got a few reports of mulloway on our beach, and some of the guys that are encountering these mulloway are targeting whiting with tube worms. A lot of dart around. I had some good reports of some good whiting, but a lot of dart. That'll improve once we start to get that temperature, hopefully over the next few weeks, to come back on our beaches. But it's great to see a few mulloway back in the system. The channel, Salts Bay's been particularly well. Brim and definitely whiting, but there's quite a few trevally up there. And when we come over the bridge just a second ago, the water has a real good colour to it. And I think this is on the back of this southerly. So we're going to see hopefully a little bit of an increase in temperature, and these fish really start to turn it on. Out wide, that better water is just sort of up off Port Stephens, a sort of car park area, but it is slowly moving. And on those inshore reefs, plenty of trags still around, but again, no bonito. And I spoke to a couple of the commercial fishermen from the south coast, same sort of deal. No bonito around at the moment, but things are on the improve because we're already hearing of mackerel to the north. So it's just a matter of getting that body of water to move along the coast. All in all, guys, it is a really good weekend. I think most of the damage will be done out in the estuary, but remember, you've just got to persist a little bit and pick the times to go. And as I've said many, many times, I still believe out here in the channel, the best time to fish is the last of. So it's either the last of the run in and the last of the run out. Good luck this weekend. We'll talk to you next Friday.